David Smith here with another Flipped Classroom math video. A few tips before we start. Remember that you can slow down or speed up the playback if that helps you follow along. You can also pause the video at any point to catch up with your notes or try the problems before I explain them. Lastly, you could turn on the captions and read my words going along below the bottom of the screen. Today's video, I'm going to show you how to use a very cool online tool to make graphs of your parabolas, of your quadratic functions. So the homework or the exercises are going to have you do some hand graphs, some graphing by hand. It's a valuable skill to have. But then there are also several places in our textbook where it says verify using a computer graphing package. And what they mean is any tool that can electronically make graphs directly from the equations. If you have a graphing calculator, you can use that. If you don't, Desmos is a super valuable tool. So let's get started. Okay, here I am in Desmos, and the way to get to Desmos is just go to desmos.com. That's DESMOS.com. If you want to pause the video and open that up and follow along with me in there, that would be fine. I don't think there's a lot to take notes of for this. It's more about learning how to use this tool I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so once you've gone to desmos.com, just click here using the graphing calculator. And that opens up this window right here. And what we have, here's your graph like you would expect. I have this little entry screen up here. Let's put in that simplest parabola that we talked about a lesson or two ago. That's y equals x squared. Now, the way I get the x squared is I use the caret key to give me squared. And the caret is just the shift of the 6 key. It's that little upward pointing end thing. And notice how I hit caret and it over here, it bumped the cursor up above the x. So when I type my 2 for squared, you can see now I have x squared, y equals x squared. And presto, check it out. I've got a graph of a parabola sitting right there. That's that basic parabola we talked about. Okay, now let's take a look at a different graph. Action. So when you're done typing in one graph, if you just tap your enter key, it opens up a new line below. So now let's kind of play around and make some variations. How about y equals 2x squared? Caret 2 for my squared. And notice how now this is blue over here by my equation, and my blue graph shows up right there. So check it out. This made the parabola a little thinner or narrower. Let's try another one. How about y equals x squared? Now, if I want to get back down onto the main line, see my cursor's still up in the squared. So if I tap my right arrow key, it brings me down. So then I can do +4. Now I can also click and hold down on the graph and drag the graph around so that I can see more of it. So green equation, green graph right there. Y equals x squared +4. Let's try another one. Y equals, now I'm going to do this a little differently. I'm going to put the extra number inside the parentheses with the x. So x minus 2, closing parentheses. Now do shift of 6 for caret to get up into the area where I can do squared. And there's my purple graph. Purple equation, purple graph. So check that out. The -2 has moved the graph over 2 in the positive direction. If your graph is getting too cluttered up, if your space up here is getting too cluttered up, you can just remove a graph just by clicking on its X. Okay, let's try one more. Let's get a little bit more complicated. How about y equals 4 parentheses x plus 4 clothing parentheses, caret 2 to get my squared, hit my arrow and go -3. So check it out. Black equation, black graph. So you can see these parabolas can get shifted around and they can get widened or thinned depending. Let's do one more so I can show you what a wider graph looks like. that would be something like y equals, how about 0.1 or 1/10 of, let's just do x caret 2. That's 1/10 x squared. And this is like, it's another red graph, and you can see this one is here. So that makes the graph much wider. So in coming days, we're going to explore how to change the shapes of these parabola graphs just by changing certain components in the equation. We can change their shape, we can change their vertex. One more thing, pause the video and think about it. How would you make a graph open downwards? These are all opening up. Think about how you do that. If you have Desmos open and you've been playing around with it, go ahead and try one. Okay, let's take a look. So let's try that. Y equals, now all we need to do is put some kind of negative term in front of my x squared. So I'm just going to do the simplest one. We'll just go negative x caret 2 for squared, and there we go. And so now I have this kind of steely blue color for this equation, and check it out. Here's my graph. It's opening downward. It's the same exact shape as this one, as y equals x squared, except that it opens down. Here's y equals x squared. This guy here, here's y equals negative x squared. And just to know, when I type in negative x squared, the squared happens first. Then the answer is negative. It's not negative x in parentheses squared. It's square the x and then make it negative. So I suggest, as you work on exercises, that you have a window with Desmos open. So you can do a hand graph, and then you can quickly check it in Desmos. Strongly encourage you not to do it the other way around right now, okay? We need to make sure that your abilities to make hand graphs is nice and solid. Another thing to realize is that Desmos is not available to you on a test or a quiz. So please, please, please avoid getting overly dependent on it to generate graphs in the first place, but use it to check the graphs that you've made by hand. Okay, one last word before I let you go. Today's exercises or tomorrow's exercises, depending on when you're working on them, have you make a bunch of different hand graphs and then have you check them with Desmos. So go ahead and work through those, at your own pace, ask questions, do all the good things, check your answers in the back, check them with Desmos, and have some fun. Now that you've finished the video, take a moment to jot down any questions that you have so you can bring them to our next class and get some help. You can also watch the video again to perfect your understanding. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button down below, and if you'd like to help me grow my YouTube channel, please click subscribe.